Okay, our Circle of Fifths lesson mentioned key signatures. So we're going to talk a little that was how you can remember key signatures, that you can use that Circle of Fifths as a mnemonic to help remember your key signatures. But let's talk a little bit about what the key signature actually does. So I have an example here of the key signature for A major, which is 3 sharps, F, C, and G. And I have a keyboard here with an A and an A, the beginning and ending point of an A major scale that we're going to create in just a second. So if I were to take all the white keys from A to A, like we did on C when we were talking about C major, we would not end up with an A major scale, and we talked about that in an earlier lesson. Because we have whole, half, whole, half, whole. That is the series of whole and half steps for a natural minor scale, not for a major scale. So we have to make certain alterations to this to the list of all white keys in order to create a major scale that starts on A. And the alteration that we're going to make to that list of all white keys is we're going to make these 3 changes to it, which are F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. So as we go across, we go A, B, we get to C, and that's one of these notes. So we're going to use C sharp instead of C natural. Then we go to D, E, we go to F sharp because it's also in the list, and then we go to G sharp because it's in the list. And this will give us our series of whole, half, whole, half. We can see here whole, half step, C sharp to D, whole, and then half step from G sharp to A at the end. The way these key signatures work is they tell the player that every note that they see written in the music, whatever the notes are, any note that you see that's a C, because we have a C sharp here, this automatically becomes a C sharp. Here's a G. G sharp is one of the notes in the key signature, so it's going to be always G sharp instead of G natural. G sharp, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and the player will have to remember and apply those 3 notes to every note they run into in the music that they're playing or reading. Now, a couple of facts about this. If you are a composer and you don't want an F sharp here, maybe you want an F natural, you can change that to F natural just by adding a natural sign before the F. It's important to remember we always put accidentals before the note, because if you're reading the note, let's say you're playing your clarinet, you get to this note, if that accidental is on the other side, well, you're reading in this direction. So you get here and you play G sharp, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, just like the key signature told you. You play the F sharp, and then you realize that it was supposed to be F natural. This does not work. So we have to make sure that all of our accidentals are seen before the note when the player is reading. Therefore, we put it on this side. Now, this accidental is going to carry through, meaning if you have another F over here, that F is going to be F natural again. When you hit the bar line, the next bar line will reset this, and that F would be F sharp. Now, most of the time, a composer, if they made it F natural here, and then you pass a bar line, they're going to remind you that this is F sharp with what's called a courtesy accidental. And that is just, it's not quite necessary. It's not really necessary because the bar line does absolutely reset to the key signature. But courtesy accidentals are helpful to the player in case you've just changed your mind about that F. You've got in your mind F natural, and you are thinking about other things because you're thinking about your technique and your phrasing and maybe what the other people are playing. Then it's nice if the composer can remind you, and sometimes they will even put it in parentheses just to say, I know this is not a real accidental, I know I didn't have to do it, but it's a courtesy accidental and I'm trying to help you out a little bit. Any accidental changes you make, this does not have to be a natural sign. Any accidental change that you make If I want G double sharp, this G double sharp will be valid all the way until I get to a bar line. Because G is sharp here, but I changed it to double sharp here. Now, a question I get asked a lot by students is, if this is a G double sharp, does that apply to all Gs, or does it only apply to the second line G in a treble clef? So if I had a note up here, after this G double sharp, is that note G double sharp or is it G sharp? It's supposed to be G sharp. This is my understanding. But not every publisher or printer of music is aware of that, and accidents are made. There are typos. So it's best to, if you have a question about it, ask your teacher or use some kind of reasoning or logic to figure out what the note should be. And that might be listening to a professional recording to see what they chose to do with the other note. Or if the composer is still alive, send them an email and ask them. That's a valid technique nowadays. Any accidental changes are going to continue all the way to the bar line, and they get reset by the bar line. So after that bar line, you are automatically back to whatever the key signature told you to do. And this key signature can be anything from, if it's C major, there are no sharps or flats, meaning everything is a white key if you're on a keyboard. If you have flats here, you will see certain letters that have to be flatted. The flats and the sharps don't mix together. But we also need to talk about the order of the flats and sharps. And that is also easy to remember. The order is this. So if you are talking about flats, you start over here. And the way you use this is, if I need one flat, that one flat is going to be B flat. As soon as I put that one flat on there, I now have the key signature for the key that has one flat in it, which is the key of F. If I need two flats for the key signature for B flat major, then I need B and E. The third one is A, fourth one is D, fifth one is G, sixth one is C, and the seventh one is F. And let me go ahead and put those on the bass clef too, so that you can see B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Now, these are the ones that you're supposed to write. Like, you could have used this G, or you could have written a G flat up here, but this is the ones that are standard, unless I made a mistake, but I'm pretty sure these are right. And let's look at the sharps then. So if you need to write sharps, you can use the same thing. Bead, the word bead with greatest common factor is an easy way to remember it. But if you want to do sharps, you just go the opposite direction. So one sharp is F sharp. And so you put on F sharp. And you continue. If you need two sharps for the key of D major, you're going to use F sharp and C sharp. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. F sharp, C sharp, G, D, A, E, and B. I think that last one is up. Could be wrong about that. I don't think it really matters. It doesn't matter to me if my students get these on the wrong octaves, but it's best if you can try to be at least close to what is standard. And you could look at any piece of music that has 7 sharps in it, which you don't see very often. But look at any piece of music that has 7 sharps in it. You can check, or you can look online, and I'm sure that information is easily available. When I update this video, I'll make sure I know the answer. Thank you very much.